Hi, this is Al. First of all, I want to wish you a happy 2025. I hope it brings you joy, prosperity, and wisdom. Now, if you look at the world right now, things are not doing well. Democracy is going down. The economy is not doing great in most countries. And citizens are really trying to find their space. Among the lessons that we have learned as the Open Institute during the time that we've been working is that we have to go back to the basics. What do I mean? 20 years ago, the focus of the world was on building systems for transparency, trying to figure out how the world can get open data systems, how the world can build ecosystems around data so that governments can be a lot more proactively transparent. I feel like we've come full circle. We had a great heyday in the early 2000s, especially after 2010, 2011 there. But now if you look at where the world is right now, more governments are less transparent, more ideologies of nationalism and populism are coming up in ways that are threatening freedoms and availability even of information, and autocracies are also on the rise. I think this is time that the whole world needs to get back to the basics and start to think about transparency. The other big lesson that we have learned, and we learned this especially given that over the last couple of years we've been working on Maono, this wonderful concept of bringing non-profit, small grassroots non-profits organizations together, mobilizers and organizers into a space where they get three things. They get a space where they can work, it's a co-working space. Number two, they get shared services. So it's very expensive for them to have their own internet connection and have their own utilities and so on and so forth. But in a co-working sort of setting, they can share all of these costs. But in addition to that, they get services like accounting, technology, and so on and so forth. So this is the second thing that they get. The third thing that they get is that opportunity to collaborate, to come together. Now, as we were doing this for the last 2 years at Maono, we have really figured out that there's an opportunity for us to invest a lot more at the grassroots in what I would call citizen agency, getting citizens to have power to be able to direct how development is done in their places, getting their institutions that are around them, the small ecosystem of institutions that are around them, to be a lot more powerful so that they can actually drive sustainability in those areas. So last year I got a call from a member of a community who asked us to go and help her to find a funder to give them a new well because the well that they had was not working. When I went to check, I found that the well had a crack about this much, and that crack was right at the bottom of the little wall that juts out of the ground. And so what I wanted to know is, they tried to figure out what it would take to fix that crack. And it turned out that they hadn't. When they went to find out from the people who know how to fix wells, they found that it would only cost them about $30 to fix that crack if they just contributed amongst themselves in their village, and they would be able to sort it out. One of the things that then we have started to see a lot more is people like Janet, who I'm talking about, taking charge of those sort of systems and making them more sustainable. If we invest a lot more in the grassroots organizations, we will begin to see people looking less for funding from outside, and we will begin to see a lot of things being solved internally by the community themselves, because they have the infrastructure, they have the ideas, and if they have the technical knowledge and they can be able to pull in the networks that they need, a lot more will happen more sustainably. One of the other reasons that we think that this is important is because of the number of failed projects that we have seen, especially in Kilifi County, but also in Tana River County, in Garissa County, in Wajir, in so many other counties. We've seen that all of these projects were doing great while there was a donor, while there was a large national organization behind it. But as soon as this national organization leaves, the project flops. Whether it's a fish pond, whether it's a chicken project, whether it is a goats project. As soon as they leave, the goats are sold or eaten, and the women are back to square one. What we're saying here is this: It's time for us to go back to the basics. Invest in transparency, invest in citizen agency, because that is where sustainable development will come from, at the grassroots. Thank you. Have a good day.